Howdy Beans, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Howdy Beans podcast. I'm your host, Luke, the Elder Bean. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're all good. As per usual, today we're going to be looking at Rat Race from 2001. I absolutely love and adore this film. This is one of those moments when, I do one for you, but then I do one for me. This is a for me episode, really, to be honest. So if people don't like it or if it doesn't do very well, I don't really mind because this episode is really just for me to gush about a movie that I absolutely love and adore. But before we get into all of that and more, I want to do with housekeeping because I like to keep my house nice and clean. So make sure that you follow me on Twitter at howdybeans_pod. If you listen to this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And finally, if you listen to this on Spotify on your mobile phone, don't forget to leave me a follow and to rate the podcast. So, as I mentioned, we're going to be looking at Rat Race from 2001. I randomly discovered this movie years and years ago. But if you're a regular listener of the podcast, a lot of my random discoveries of movies are always on channel Film 4, which is a channel here in the UK, which mostly always just plays movies. That's all it does. When it first starts, it's usually a lot of older movies, like early hours in the morning, really old sort of 40s, 50s, 60s movies. But when you start getting to the afternoon to the evening, that's when you start getting a few more modern movies. Rat Race is always one that's on there. And I don't remember where I was. I don't remember how old I was, but I remember flicking for the channels and it was Rat Race. And I'd missed the beginning. It was just a little bit sort of them beginning sort of their race, shall we say. And you got all these collection of characters. You got like characters that I know and love, like Seth Green and John Cleese, obviously from Monty Python. And it was one of these where I was like, oh, I know these characters from like so Cuba Gooding Jr. You had Whoopi Goldberg's in there as well. Amy Smart from Road Trip, yeah, and Butterfly Effect and stuff like that. So like I knew these actors, and I was really a big fan of a lot of them. So I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting characters that I like and enjoy. And then they're all put together, and they've all got to go from like point A to point B, go on like a race, and if they get whoever gets there in time wins like a big sort of cash of money. And I remember just watching it, being, oh, that sounds interesting, and then just being enthralled of the sort of slapstick, the sketch comedy, sort of like each one of them's getting into their own sort of scrapes. And each scrape is leading them further and further on the journey, and they get closer and closer until we get to the end. And you got Smash Mouth, which when I was like, I am now, but when I was younger, I was a big Smash Mouth fan. So like that was a huge surprise. Like, oh my god, So I just love this movie, and it's always been an absolute joy and a pleasure whenever it's on. But it's always been one of those films that amazes me that whenever I ask people, have you seen Rat Race? They either haven't seen it or it's a fact of, oh, that sounds familiar, but I can't really remember it. And it's always one of those where I'm like, I can't believe this movie's not talked about enough. I love it. I think that's really great. I think the reason why I love it so much is because like growing up with my grandparents when I was younger, going to theirs while my mom went to work and watching like Only Fools and Horses and stuff like that with my granddad and watching westerns and black and white movies. A lot of the time, what the movies that he'd watched again was old, and it reminded me of the old race sort of genre movies. The movies like the Gumball Rally, the Cannonball Race movie with Burt Reynolds. You also had like Wacky Racers and like Catch the Pigeon. Those animated movies that I'd watch, and these sort of films, like I miss. I miss the idea and concept of just like race movies where you've got a random collection of characters, and they're all in like wacky cars, like wacky situations, and while they go from point A to point B, there's no real cohesion, there's no real story because the story doesn't really matter. What matters is that you've got a group of characters and they are just going from point A to point B, and they get into scrapes, they get into like hijinks and ensue, and that's the joy because you never know what's going to happen next. You never know where the character's going to end up. You know they're going to get closer to their goal. Somebody's going to win, but it's how sort of whatever happens, whatever sort of gag or what happens leads them to the next point in the story, to the next checkpoint or whatever. And I miss those sort of films growing up because I used to watch them a lot. And it wasn't until like I saw Rat Race that I was like, oh my God, this really reignited that feeling in me of like, I miss this sort of genre of movie. And you just don't get it nowadays. And I understand why, because let's be honest with ourselves, what makes money nowadays in the business of making film are a lot of action movies. Like you've got Mission Impossible, Top Gun, but you've also got the superhero movies like Marvel and DC. So movies like this, comedies like this, they don't really do very well. And I understand why they don't make them. It's just I miss this genre of film. Because it's a lot of fun. It's silly. Like, it's not meant to be anything serious. It's not anything to be like blow the doors off and like be the next sort of evolution in filmmaking. No, it's literally getting a bunch of actors, mostly character actors, to be honest, getting them, putting them in awkward or sort of random situations, and then just seeing what they and their characters do to get out of them. There's one in this movie where I can't remember her name now, but the woman from Misery, she's in this, and she comes in and she, like, you got the two characters, the two girls are trying to get to sort of the end goal, and they get lost, and they pull over and they go, oh, do you know how to get to so and so? And she's like, oh yeah, but do you want to buy a squirrel? And they're, oh no, we don't want a squirrel. You're sure? And she's doing all these sort of voices with the squirrel and all that, and then they say, no, 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 we don't want a squirrel. And then, like, she's like, all right, then, like, but she gives them a bag of nuts just in case you see a squirrel. And then she tells them where to go. And then you see another gag. And then you come back to these lot. They're lost. They're following these signs. And next thing you know, they're going down a ravine. And there's a sign as they go, it goes, you should have bought a squirrel. And then they land in this big ravine full of cars, full of skeletons, full of dead people. Or, like, well, were dead people that obviously she's haven't bought a squirrel. And she's ended up sort of trapping there. And then they're stuck. And it's just like, it's so silly, but it was so unexpected. And even though I've seen this movie loads of times now, and I know to expect it, the gag still makes me laugh. And even now, when I see squirrels walking around, I still hear them heading like, I should have bought a squirrel. Don't mess with squirrels. Don't mess with squirrel ladies because they're crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's things like that where, like, movies just stay with you. Like, nowadays, I watch a film, and unless it's a really unless like an indie movie or like it's a real powerful, poignant movies nowadays, and maybe because I'm a lot older, I'm a lot less of a sponge than I was when I was younger. But movies don't really stay with me now as they did when I was younger. When I was younger, like, there were movies I'd watch that I could quote for hours and hours and hours. But nowadays, I can remember certain bits and I can remember certain gags or certain quotes, but I can't sort of verbatim sort of watch the movie and say the lines. Like, I could watch Harry Potter and stuff like that over and over again, and I could sort of line for line just sit there and monologue the whole film, to be honest. And it's just the fact that you just don't have that nowadays. So I love watching older movies for that, and I love this movie for that because it just has so many gags and so many things in it that just makes me laugh, and I just love it. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, this one's for me. So even if people listen to this aren't interested, or if it doesn't do very well, I don't care. I absolutely love and adore this film. It's been on my list for ages, so I figured, you know what? I don't know when I'm going to get round to it, so it's going to be one of them movies that I'm going to throw in randomly at the end of the year and have a lot of fun with. So yeah, so that's kind of a bit of my backstory with this movie. As for the sort of synopsis, so in an ensemble film about easy money, greed, manipulation, and bad driving, a Las Vegas casino tycoon entertains his wealthiest high rollers, a group that will be bet on anything, by putting 6 ordinary people against each other in a wild dash for $2 million. Jammed into a locker hundreds of miles away, the tycoon and his wealthy friends monitor each racer's every move to keep track of their favorites. The only rule is in this race is that there are no rules. So basically, get from point A to point B any means necessary. The characters themselves don't know it's a game. Like, it's a game, but they don't know they're being monitored. They don't know it's just a way for rich people can just bet on them and stuff like that. It's just a fact of all they know is that there's $2 million on sort of the other side in, I feel like it's in Silver Lake, I think, Silver Lake, New Mexico, I think it is. But basically, you've got to get from Las Vegas to here, any means necessary, in any mode of transport. It doesn't matter. You just, whoever gets there first, you've all got a key, and that's it, right? It's a simple premise, really. Like, it's nothing major, but it's the characters and the jokes and sort of the skits in between, for me, is what makes this movie just one of my favorites of all time. And that's it. And that's it, really. Just give a point A for point B. So that is the movie synopsis. As for the cast, so the cast is absolutely brilliant, to be honest. So the cast is, so we've got Breckin Meyer as Nick, you got Amy Smart as Tracy, Whoopi Goldberg as Vera, Vince Villuth as Blaine, Janissa Burgess as the hotel clerk, Cuba Gooding Jr. as Owen. Cuba Jr., he's a brilliant actor. You just don't see much of him anymore. Like I remember seeing, he was everywhere when I was younger. And then he just disappeared. I know he still does movies here and there, but like he's a brilliant actor that was everywhere, and then he just disappeared. Now, Seth Green's in this as well. You've got John Lovitz. Who doesn't love John Lovitz? John Lovitz in this, he does a great job. He plays Randy. Seth Green plays Duane, who is the brother, who plays the brother of Blaine, who is Vince Vidoux's character. Lainey Chapman, she plays Meryl. So it's like you've got a star-studded cast in this. There's also, like I said, John Cleese is in this as well as sort of the casino owner. And Mr. Bean is in this as well. So, well, not Mr. Bean, obviously, but the guy that plays him sort of plays Mr. Bean. He's in this as well. And it's one of those where it's like you just don't expect this cast. I remember when I first watched it and I saw these characters, but like what really brought me into it, to be honest, was seeing Mr. Bean, was seeing his character, Rowan Atkinson. And I was just like, what's Rowan Atkinson doing in this movie? What's Mr. Bean doing here? And like he doesn't play Mr. Bean, but he plays like if you remember, he plays like an Italian sort of eccentric sort of person. And again, it's one of those, whenever I'm running or going somewhere, I've got to get there quickly. I'm like, I'm winning. That's how he speaks. And he has narcolepsy as well. So there'll be moments where he's running, I'm winning. And he just like not passes out. He just kind of stands there, like falls asleep. And there are many moments you think, no way this guy's going to win or like he's going to make it. And he's just one of them, another sort of random characters. But it's one of those where it's like, I'm invested in every single character. I want to know how each character gets. So they're like, John Lovitz gets into some hijinks with him and his family, with Katy Namer, who plays Beverly, who plays his wife. And they've got kids as well. So it's, I love this movie. Like I don't know. I just want to get into it. But I've got to talk about the production. So we're almost there. Got to talk about production. So development. So Rat Race was initially written by Daryl Qualls as a spec script in November 1998. By February 1999, the script had been sold to Hollywood Pictures and producer Jerry Bruckheimer. In August 1999, Jerry Zucker was in negotiations to direct the film for Paramount Pictures from a screenplay written by Andy Breckman that would be set in Las Vegas, Nevada, and in New Mexico. Paramount hoped to begin production of the film in the end of 1999 or beginning of 2000. Jerry and Janet Zucker were to produce the film alongside Sean Daniel, while Daniel's partner in Alphaville Films, James Jacks, would serve as an executive producer. The film's makers initially considered having the film's characters race from Las Vegas, Nevada to Las Vegas, New Mexico, but the idea was rejected following concerns that it might confuse viewers. In January 2000, Las Vegas, Nevada was confirmed as filming locations for Rat Race. Location scouting in southern Nevada was scheduled for May 2000, while filming in the area was delayed until the fall of 2000 to avoid shooting the film in 100 degrees in the summer heat. Yeah, nobody wants to film in 100 degrees. Breckin Meyer and Amy Smart were cast in the film in June 2000, while Dean Cain was also who also joined the film in October. Actor John Cleese praised the script as one of the only two scripts during his career that he enjoyed, saying, "It's so unusual to get a top-class script. Twice in my life, I've had the experience of reading a script and simply saying, I'm going to do this." As for filming, so filming began in Calgary, Alberta, which is the furthest you can probably get away from Las Vegas. In August 2000, filming took place primarily along Calgary's highways, which stood in as highways that the characters travel on in Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. Desert scenes were shot in the Canadian town of Drumheller. Second unit filming began in Las Vegas on August the 7th, 2000, while scenes primarily involving Cuba Gooding Jr. Scheduled filming locations included the Las Vegas Strip, Tropicana Avenue east of the Las Vegas Strip, McCarran International Airport, and Nevada State Route 159. Other scheduled film locations in Nevada included Good Springs and Sandy Valley. Scenes involving Gooding and the group of Lucy impersonators were shot in the Canadian Rockies. Jerry Zucker, who had a tradition of including his mother Charlotte in each of his films, beginning with Airplane, had her portray one of the Lucy impersonators. Jerry Zucker said, "It's like the Alfred Hitchcock signature. Instead of me, it's Mum." Filming also took place at Calgary's former Currie Barracks military base, which had been converted to accommodate film and television productions. Sound stages were constructed inside 2 aircraft hangars at the base to be used for many of the film's interior scenes, including the Venetine's hotel rooms and conference room. Driving scenes using green screens and rear projection effects were also shot inside the hangars. The scene where the coin toss by Owen Tampleton's was filmed at Calgary's McCallan Stadium during a game on September the 4th. Filming returned to Las Vegas for a 9-day period beginning on September the 20th, 2000, with the first 3 days spent at McCarran International Airport before moving to the Venetian Resort on the Las Vegas Strip for 6-day shoot. The Venetian officials negotiated with Paramount for 6 months to use the resort in the film. Scenes were shot throughout the Venetian, with the exception of its hotel rooms. The Venetian scenes included the casino, lobby, and the entrance to its valet parking garage, as well as an exterior shot of the resort. Approximately 1,000 background extras were needed during the scenes for the second Las Vegas shoot. On September the 25th, 2000, second unit filming took place along Nevada State Route 161, leading to Goodsprings. Also, filming in Las Vegas concluded in September 2000, and production moved to Ely, Nevada, which stood in as Silver City, New Mexico. Ely's Northern Railway Museum stood in as the Silver City train station. According to Nevada Film Office, the filmmakers fell in love with the museum after being shown pictures of it. As a result, the initial 2-day shoot in Ely was extended to 6 days. Ely's western entrance, accessed from US Route 50, was used as the entrance to Silver City. After concluding in Ely, production crews relocated to Southern California for the final 6 weeks of filming, mainly for exterior scenes. California filming primarily occurred in Antelope Valley, in Palmdale, Acton, Santa Clarita, and New Hall. Americans, you've got some weird names for your places. I promise you. It doesn't help us sort of dyslexic, really. Rosamond, California, was also a primary location, with filming occurring during a 3-week period in October. Smart's helicopter scenes were filmed at 3138 Carnington Street in Rosamond. Additional filming in California occurred at Big Sky Ranch and El Mirage Lake. Sinclair and the Gamblers' eccentric habits are further exaggerated in deleted scenes, while they partake in many more ridiculous bets, including playing Monopoly with real money. In another scene, a high roller pretends to find what they are doing immoral. A professional wrestler, Diamond Dallas Page, and his then wife, Kimberly, had a cameo that was cut when test audiences failed to give his appearance any reaction. The scene is available on the DVD release. So that is everything for the production and for filming. So, I am incredibly excited about this one. I just love it. I think it's great. It reminds me of old slapstick movies from the past. It reminds me of the movies, the old race films. So, yeah, I just can't wait. So I'm going to go and watch this movie and have an absolute ball. If you want to stick around and hear my thoughts, by all means, you can. If you've had enough, then, fair enough. But I can't wait. So see you all in a second. And welcome back, everybody. So I fucking love this movie, and I do apologize. I should have warned there is going to be swearing, but I didn't, and I do apologize. But I do. I fucking love this movie. It is absolutely brilliant. I had a smile on my face all the way through. The jokes still land. It's still hilarious. It still makes me laugh. The idea that you have 3 Academy Award winners in this movie: Cuba Gooding Jr., Whoopi Goldberg, and Kathy Bates in this movie together. I miss ensemble films. I miss movies where you just get random characters, random actors together. And then you just put them in hijinks. You just put them in a situation which is completely bonkers. In real life, I don't know how it probably wouldn't go as coincidental and as sort of incredible as it is in the movies. But that doesn't matter because you're watching a movie. You're there to watch hijinks ensue. You're there to experience this mad, crazy story of just these six people. Because again, it's six stories told in one. These six people who have been offered the chance to win $2 million, which again is a lot of money. And it still is a lot of money now, but considering like $2 million in like 2001, it was a major life-changing amount of money. Nowadays, I feel like if you had like $1 million, it wouldn't be enough to buy a house nowadays. You know what I mean? Like the cost of living has gone up. But we're not here. We're here for the fun stuff. I don't want to get depressing. But, they're offered $2 million, and all they've got to do, there's no rules. They've got to get from Las Vegas to New Mexico, Silver City. That is it, right? And from there, you just have a fantastic, hilarious adventure. And like I've seen this movie countless of times, but it's still funny. It still lands. And like the funny part is the fact of over watching this movie over the years, and as I've grown up and as I've grown more to the world and like jokes and things like that, it's kind of got to a point now where I get some of the jokes that I didn't get before. There's this really occurring joke, which again, I didn't get it at first. I was like, I don't know who that is. But Gloria Allred is in this movie. And obviously in America, Gloria Allred, she was like an American attorney, very big and famous attorney. And she's in this movie like twice. And I didn't get that at first. But now as an adult and I know American culture and stuff like that, I'm like, oh God, I know who that is now. I get that joke. So it's like an onion. Like there's so many layers to this movie and there's so many jokes I didn't get when I was younger. And now, as an adult, I understand a lot of the jokes. I understand a lot of the humor. I understand a lot more of the things. So it's just one of the movies that you just appreciate more and more. And by the end of it, I'm sitting there thinking, I need to own this movie. I need to have a physical version of watching it because it was so hard to find this movie. Like this movie's not streaming anywhere. Luckily my dad has Amazon Prime, and I rented it off Amazon Prime. But it was one of those where it was like, I need to find this movie physical, and apparently they've recently released a Blu-ray of this, so I'm going to get a Blu-ray version of this movie just so I have it and I can watch it whenever I want to, and it will cheer me up forever. But it's just an absolutely fucking brilliant movie, and it's just a shame that it's not a film that people talk about. Like it was a financial success. The movie did well, but the problem is the fact of it's not like. You wouldn't see movies like this nowadays because there's no money in it. Even if a movie like this was made nowadays and it made all the money and it was really successful, what would you do for a sequel? And that's what it is. It's the fact of there's no potentiality of doing a sequel. There's no potentiality of doing more like this because if you made a sequel, it would be the exact same thing, just different gags. And like Scary Movie 1 and 2 were great, but eventually, when you lost the Wayne brothers, it kind of got a bit stale and not as fun as interesting. And those sort of movies, like Airplane, was hilarious. But as they started doing more spoof movies, it started getting a bit. I haven't watched the new Naked Gun, but that's meant to be like absolutely biblically hilarious. Like it's next level, just great. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it's really, really good. It's got like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like everybody loves it and all that. So that's got me excited for movies like that again. But the reason I bring it up is the fact of a movie like this will be made today because there's no financial benefit, even if the movie was successful, because you can't really do much with the premise. And that's fine with me because I love and appreciate that this was a movie of its time, a movie of what it is, a movie of what it is trying to do, which is just getting a bunch of an ensemble cast of brilliant comedic actors and serious actors and stuff like that, and then just putting them together in a situation and seeing what happens. And I love that. We don't really get ensemble movies anymore, to be honest. And I miss it. I really do. And like I miss these race movies because they're just funny. It's just interesting to see. It's like it's this whole thing of the human condition. It's interesting to see when you have a group of people together who are different people from different walks of life, and then you just put them against like the clock, or you've got to get from one place to another. Like there's shows on the TV now like Race Around the World, like here in the UK, Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. They drop a group of people in the middle of nowhere. They don't know where they are, and they've got to get from one part of the world to the next, any means way, by train, bus, car, any way, boat. And it's interesting. There is like there's also a show on in the UK called, I think it's called Hunted, or something like that. And basically, that premise is sometimes you do it with celebrities, sometimes you do it with members of the public, and you get these random people, and it's like again, you've got to get from A to B, and while you're doing that, you're also being hunted down by some like not special forces, but like some of like the high special sort of tracking sort of teams that look at like, track down criminals and track down these sort of people, and they go on social media, and it's really fascinating how they track these people down. And you've got the hunters that go out and they run after them. They really do chase you. But if you manage to get to the Xville without being caught, you win loads and loads of money. So the genre, in a way, is still around. It's just done on TV with real life people. It's not done in movies. And I'll be honest, I do quite like those shows, to be honest, even though I prefer when hijinks and coincidental sort of hilarity happens. It's still quite interesting to see what, again, it is an experiment really, to see what a human would do in that situation where you're being hunted, and it's not serious, but it is serious. You know what I mean? Because there's money involved and stuff like that. So, yeah, I went off tangent there a bit, but I just love this genre. I love the ensemble of characters and comedians and Smash Mouth and just the skits and the scrapes. It's just fucking funny. It's just so good. And like other people probably watch this movie and think, Luke, I don't see it, and that's fair enough. You know, comedy is subjective, but I was laughing all the way through this, and I forgot Wayne Knight was in this movie. Wayne Knight, a brilliant actor, who is a character actor, who is in everything. And again, you'll mostly know him if you're a Jurassic Park fan. He was Dennis Nedry. You didn't say a magic word. That guy. He's been in, basically, he was my childhood. He was basically in everything. When he appeared, you knew it was going to be, his character was going to be good, even if it wasn't like a major character. You just enjoyed seeing him on screen. So I forgot he was in this, and he has a long scene with Rowan Atkinson. It's just great. But yeah, first impressions is I fucking love this movie. I do, and I could end the review right there and say just take that and leave it, and then just go watch the film yourself. But I'm a reviewer. I'm a serious guy, so I'm going to keep going. So that's my first impressions. As for the story, so the best way to kind of split this story up is kind of into 6 parts. So I've already basically set the premise. So I'll do it once more, a really quick one. The long and short of the premise is the fact of these 6 people in a casino. They go gamble. They get a golden coin. John Cleese's character, Donald Sinclair, calls him up to the penthouse and says, look, you've got to get from point A to point B, which is Las Vegas to Silver City. And your job is to basically, like, any means necessary, doesn't matter. You get $2 million. That's it, right? First person there wins it. Little do they know is that while they're doing this, they just think it's a game. They just think it's a way to kind of just, get money, really. They're being watched by the high rollers. These are the billionaires, the oil barons and stuff like that. The people that have got more money than sense. And it's a game for them, really. They're betting on who's going to get there first, who's going to win. But while they're doing chases, all the skits was there. Like, there's a deleted scene where they're betting high money on Monopoly. There's another one where they get a prostitute to come into the room, and they basically say, like, first we get naked, and then we're going to put sailors' hats on. And she's like, oh, kinky, I love it. And then he's like, well, hold on a second. Then we get in the tub, and we fill it up with Pepto-Bismol. And then I clip your toenails, and then you shave my buttocks. And at her face, she's kind of like screaming, like, she's got a face of like, that look of like, I am a sort of not Hollywood, a Las Vegas escort. I've probably seen and done it all, but that's a bit too far. And he's sitting there, and he's looking at her, he's like, how much will you do it for? And she's like, well, baby cakes, that's going to be 3,000. And then all the high rollers and John Cleese's character, Donald Sinclair, comes out, and he's like, who said 3,000? And the closest guy was that whole roller. And loads of different sort of skits like that. And I love that, because it breaks it up, because when you've had fun with the comedies, I've seen what these characters are going through and where they're going and how they're getting closer and closer to the goal. You've got these moments with the high rollers. There's even one where they get on a plane and they go to Silver City to kind of see the winner. And the one they're doing turbulence, they're rocking the plane back and forth, and the one of them guy throws up, and then Sinclair goes, "Oh, you can tell the pilots to stop now. Who had Mister one of the so and so? It was going to be him that was be sick first, and the other guy's like me, and then he gets up and he got like big wads of cash, sort of thing. So again, it's all just a game to them because like, again, when you're a billionaire and you can do anything you want, you're bored. What else do you do? And it's this kind of thing. So that's the idea. So you have Rowan Atkinson as Enrico Bellini, his character. Then you have Breckin Meyer, Nick, Seth Green's character. I think it's Dwayne, yeah. John Lovitz, I love John Lovitz. Everything he's in is just great. As Randy, and then you have. I'm going through the list right now to make sure I've got all of them. Oh yeah, Cuba Gooding Jr. as Owen, Whoopi Goldberg as Vera, and then Meryl and Vera's daughter. And you got all these people, these 6 people, and they go. And at first, they're very much the fact of, it's a joke. It's a publicity stunt. It's not real. Like, it's all fake. And they're waiting for the lift. And like Nick Breckin's character, Breckin, weird name, but either way. So his character's Nick. He's like, nah, I'm not interested. Like he's a goody two shoes. Like he's a defense attorney. Like he's not interested. Like he doesn't do anything wrong at all in his life. He's a bit of a crab, really. And he basically goes, no, I'm not interested. He waits. They're waiting for the lift, and then you have Rowan Atkinson's character, like he really gets into it. Like, it's a race. I win. I hope I win. And he's limbering up, and he runs down the stairs, and they're just looking at him, and they're like, yeah, you know what? It's all silly. John Lovitz goes, my room's only like 2 floors down. I'm just gonna go get the stairs, and then he goes to like Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character. Oh, and he's like, yeah, nice seeing you, buddy. Hope you have a good trip and all that. And then Cuba Gooding Jr. he kind of has that look on his face. He's like, you know what? Yeah, it's probably broken. Like, I'll take the stairs. See you guys. And then the camera pans to the people that are left, and next thing you know, you've got who let their dogs out. And they're literally tumbling over each other, trying to fight each other down these stairs. While you've got Nick at the top of the stairs being like absolute chumps, absolute losers as they're racing to the airport. And probably the best way to kind of talk about this movie and talk about the story is if I break it down individually into 6 parts. So we'll start with Nick. So basically, Nick's character, like I said, he's not interested. He goes to the airport. He's like, look, I'm gonna go. Going back home, and then he meets Amy Smart's character, Tracy, and she's a pilot, and he tries to sort of flirt with her a bit, and then all the flights get cancelled, and I'll explain as to why in a minute. And he basically he says to her, "Oh well, now you're grounded, now you're flying, let me get you a drink." She's like, "Oh no, I'm flying." He's like, "Oh." All the flights are cancelled. She's like, no, I have a chopper. I'm going to Silver City, New Mexico. We fly on a different wavelength. It's not the same as the planes. And he has this thing in his head because he's what I've skipped over. He has a key. They all have these keys that go to these lockers. They're all given a key. He throws his key away. Once he realizes this, and she's like, do you want to ride? Do you want to lift? I'll fly you over there. So he jumps in, he grabs it, and he goes off flying with her. He lies to her, said, like, my sister's not very well. She's been bitten by a shark, and for some reason Silver Lake is the only place that's got a really good shark bite unit, even though it's miles and miles away from the ocean or any shark at all, basically. Then she goes and she's like, oh, I'm going north a bit because I want to go surprise my boyfriend. She finds his boyfriend and ends up basically finding out he's cheating on her, so she goes psycho bitch, right? And she tries to ram the helicopter, as she says, down his throat. She's trying to, she's threatening him. She's finally got hovering over his car. She's throwing paint on it. She's throwing stuff. She's like, open this. And he's like, oh, Tracy, I don't want to be involved. And she's like, open it. And it's a big jar of paint. So he opens the showing face. She throws it out. She's going proper crazy. Like, Amy Smart, she's a brilliant actress. She's absolutely gorgeous. Brilliant actress. And it's funny, this is the second movie that I've reviewed this year that has Amy Smart in it. The first one was a small cameo in Starship Troopers. So I don't know if you noticed that one. But Amy Smart, she's just such a brilliant actress. And like anybody who has watched Butterfly Effect knows how brilliant she is. But she's such a brilliant actress that she can play crazy so well, but crazy sexy, with the fact of, like, you can watch it, you're like, this is hot. Like, I shouldn't be getting turned on right now, but I am. This is very strange, but she's so good at it. I just can't explain it. And I'm not going to apologize for that comment. It's true. And even Nick's character in the story, because as they go through, she's siphoning a car, and he's sitting there like, is it weird I'm getting turned on by this? And she doesn't answer him. She just kind of gives him a look. And they're like, Nick's character, like, I don't want to spoil any more gags because obviously they go on their sort of adventure. But Nick comes out of his shell while he comes out of being such a goody choo-choos, and he's like, you know what? This girl's probably the best thing I've ever happened in my life. Yeah, she's a bit mad and crazy, but you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna go for it. And he follows her, and he lets her on sort of the secret of like $2 million. We'll split it. I'll get $1 million. You get $1 million. You've just got to help me get to Silver Lake. And they go on there, like they have hijinks and things happen with them. Then you have the Seth Green and Vince, sort of Blaine and Dwayne, the brothers. They're basically in Vegas because they want to basically sue the casino. They're trying to find ways to trip and fall and stuff like that down the stairs to kind of just sue them. So Dwayne says to his brother Blaine, he goes like, I'll put this glass here. All you got to do is, step on it, fall down the stairs. And his brother's like, is it going to hurt? He's like, yeah, you might break your neck. But, that's a risk I'm willing to take. And before they can do that, an old lady comes, stands on the glass. She somersaults. She goes crazy. She does like 10 million different somersaults down these long stairs. They're both looking like, oh my God, that could have been one of us. Only to get down to the bottom. And Gloria, all good, all red or whatever her name is, she's there. She's like, oh my God, I'm so-and-so. They're going to sue them through the nose. You're going to get so much money, blah, blah, blah. And they're sitting there going, fuck, that could have been us. There's another joke where she pops up again later, but that's them. And then they basically try to get to the airport. They get to the airport. They was like, well, all the flights, because all the other characters have ended up getting to the airport before them because they end up getting lost. And there's no flights to Silver Lake at all. And then Seth Green, Dwayne looks at his brother's Blaine, and he basically goes, look, if we can't go, nobody's going. So they go to the big sort of antenna that goes around, the kind of the radar dish. They tie their they get the cable from their Jeep that they've got. They tie it around, and the idea is like they're going to tie it around, hook it on, and then we're going to pull it down. But again, because they're idiots, they end up hooking it on the actual antenna dish as it's spinning around. So you've got Blaine on the ladders. Again, all he does is scream, but it's hilarious. He can't talk anyway, by the way, because he did his own tongue piercing, and it's like infected. It hasn't gone very well. So he talks like that, and like Dwayne, Seth Green's character, he ends up sort of translating for him. So you got Blaine's on the ladder, Seth Green, Dwayne, he's in the truck, and all of a sudden the Jeep starts to move. He's trying to put the brakes on, but he's getting pulled up around it. And you've got Blaine looks around, looks down, and the Jeep's literally coming up the tower at him, and he's screaming his head off. And I think Seth Green, like I watched the making of documentary, which is not long, about 22 minutes, making this movie, and they had so much fun making it, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I think Seth Green did a lot of his own stunts in this, and I think he actually did a lot of the stunts, because there's many moments I was watching this movie and I was thinking, because I had my reviewer brain on, I was thinking, I think that is Seth. Like usually you can tell when it's like not the actor, you can tell it's like somebody that has like a wig on that's like meant to look like the actor. I'm saying that's Seth, and that is Vince. Vince is actually on the hood of the car. That's not a body double or anything. That is the actors. And I love that. I love when actors do their own stunts. I know it's incredibly dangerous, but it really kind of gets you into the story and into the movie more, because you can actually see them. There's no cutaway. There's no hiding the face. It's the fact of that, okay, that is Tom Cruise. That is who it's meant to be. That's who I think. It's not somebody that looks like Tom Cruise. Like that is Tom Cruise. That is Seth Green. That is, who it's meant to be. And I love that. And they end up jamming the signal, which then jams the plane for everybody, which is why Nick had to go on the helicopter, and he meets Tracy, and his adventure begins. And they get into hijinks as well. There's one where they tried to be smart, and they tried to get get a copy of the key, but because they're idiots, they ended up talking quite loudly to the key cutter, saying, "Oh, we're going to split the money, and if you find it before me, blah blah blah." And the key cutter's like, "Oh, he's listening to it." So he ends up giving their keys back. It turns out they're dummy keys. They end up stealing their keys, so they're chasing him. He ends up getting into like a hot air balloon and they chase this hot air balloon down. And this is where, Seth's doing his own stunts and stuff. All of a sudden, there's a rope hanging off it. Seth's hanging off it. Blaine, he's stuck on the hood of the car. He's going, Dwayne, stop. You're going to kill me. Little does he know that Seth's not in the car anymore. Dwayne, he's not in the car. He's hanging above him. So he turns around, notices there's nobody in the car because the car's on cruise control. He's screaming his head off, which is hilarious. Seth, he's up there. He's screaming his head off because he's attached to this rope. Then he manages to come down, fall off it. As he gets up, the car's racing towards him, so he's running away from the car. Again, it's more hilarious. Obviously, I'm not doing it any justice. It's more hilarious when you see it, especially with like Seth Green, how brilliant he is. And then the rope gets attached to a cow, and the cow's now dangling off, and this guy's up there as well. And Seth Green ends up getting back on the rope, and then squirts the guy in the face with the titty sort of cow milk juice. The udder, that's the word I was looking for, not cow titty. Put that on a t-shirt, and then it's really horrible. Like he falls down, he's dangling by the cow's like hoofs, like hands, like the front of the cow, and the cow sneezes on him. It's all gunk. It's disgusting. And again, there's more that happens with them, but don't want to spoil it. Then you've got Cuba Gooding Jr. I'm going to have to race through these. It's going to take me forever. So Cuba Gooding Jr., he is a referee that called a bogus call. He basically completely messed up. He keeps getting recognised by a lot of people, and they're all people that like have a vendetta against him, like lost money because of the false call that he made and all this jazz. And he's trying to, again, like the rest of them, try to get to the airport. Gets to the airport, basically can't fly, so he gets in a taxi. Before he gets to the airport, he gets into a taxi with this guy who's this like mega Dallas Cowboys fan, and he's like, "Did you see that game? That ref who made a bad call? Blah blah. I lost like 20 grand, and I've got to work like double shifts." And that guy, and as he gets out, Cuba Gooding Jr. sort of Owen gets out the car and runs away. The other taxi driver goes, that was the guy who made the call. He's like, "Oh my god, I had him! I had him right in the back." And then he gets back in the taxi. Obviously, us as the audience, we know this. We already know. We see all this. Obviously, Owen doesn't. He gets in the car. He's like, "Oh, I need you to take me to like Silver Lake City." He's like, "Yeah, no problem, buddy." And then he ends up sort of saying to him, "It's like, don't worry about it, Silver Lake. I trust your judgment and all this." He's making like references of him being like a referee and that. And all of a sudden, Owen basically realizes, and then the taxi driver just leaves him in the desert in the middle of nowhere. And then again, coincidentally, he manages to make his way through the desert, and then he gets to this like truck stop, and he tricks this coach driver into giving him his hat and his coat and all that. And he keeps saying, he's like, "Oh, my wife's in labor. I need the coat to put around her." He's like, guy gives him his jacket. "I need your pants, like the trousers." And he's like, "Why do you need transport?" He's like, for the placenta and all that. And he's like, I need your hat." And the guy's like, my hat, what do you need my hat for?" And he's like, and I love this bit. It always makes me laugh because I'm such a child. Cuba Gooding Jr. looks like he goes, "For her vagina." And the guy's like, it just makes me laugh. I just piss myself laughing. I think it's hilarious. And again, I love this idea that you get serious actors, serious Academy Award actors, to do these sort of roles. Because like, if you watch Airplane, like Leslie Nielsen in Airplane, before he did Airplane, he was a serious actor. People like this is a thing that people don't know about Leslie Nielsen. He was a very serious actor. He did very serious movies. So when he was in this movie, nobody took it seriously, and he was deadpan. He's like, "Surely you can't be serious." "I am serious, and don't call me Shirley." Like, so deadpan. And that led with his career, and that's why he did so well with The Naked Gun and Police Squad and things like that, because he was just so good. He was so talented. He could be funny just by being deadpan. And again, that's why I feel like Liam Neeson was a brilliant casting to sort of take over that role, because he's a serious actor who's really, really good at comedy. And I love that. I just love when you get these Academy actors to do this. Anyway, so he manages to get this whole sort of coach driver attire, goes on this bus, ends up realizing the bus he's on is just full of Lucille Ball impersonators, and he's just the whole Lucy sort of scenes that he has, where he's like, "Wah, Lucy," they're all just doing the Lucy impression. If you know who Lucille Ball is, I'm not going to go into that because that takes me forever to explain. And that's just funny. And then he has stuff that happens to him. Who've I left out? Oh, Whoopi Goldberg and Meryl. So Whoopi Goldberg and Meryl, Vera and Mira. So basically, they are sort of lost souls. Where it's like Whoopi Goldberg, Vera, she lost her daughter 27 years ago. So they rekindle. So they meet up again. So they basically first time properly meeting after like 27 years when she was like a baby, and they again can't get on the plane, so then they kind of get a rent-a-car. This is where they meet Kathy Bates, a crazy squirrel lady, and she's like, "You want to buy a squirrel? Oh, come on, pretty lady, buy a squirrel." And Kathy Bates is, again, Academy Award actor. Shouldn't be in the movie, but she is. And she's saying basically, come on, you want to buy a squirrel? Bag of nuts, anything like. And like the daughter Meryl, she's like, "No, we don't want to buy a squirrel." And like Vera's like, "Oh, come on, let's buy a squirrel." And Meryl's like, "No, we just need to get to the interstate." And like Kathy Bates' character's like, "Oh, well, of course I know how to get to the interstate. I'm not stupid." So she basically tells her, gives them like really, really specific, and this is where you should know that like things is probably not great. You've gone down the wrong turn, shall we say? Very much like the movie The Wrong Turn. She gives them very specific details of like, you go to this place, and then you go this many miles, and then you do this one, and then you see a big sign with graffiti on it, you do this, blah blah blah. And this is the thing I was saying in the introduction, where they follow all these instructions. They ended up going off this cliff. And then it's just got signs going, "You should have bought a squirrel." And they launch off, and then you've got all these cars and then these like skeletons coming out, and like the holding bags because I love squirrels. And it's realizing like this Kathy Bates, like she killed all these people because you should have brought a squirrel. And I still think that every time like I see squirrels now, I love squirrels, but every time I see squirrels now, I'm like, you should have bought a squirrel, because I feel like Kathy Bates is just going to appear and kill me. I would, even if like you didn't want to keep the squirrel, just the fact of if a crazy woman says to you, "Buy a squirrel," I'd buy one because I've seen this movie. I'm not going to be sort of desert murdered by Kathy Bates for not buying one. So they go into hijinks as well. They end up finding a rocket car, and then they go in a rocket car. They go like Mach 1. They break the speed limit and all that. So they're like in the salt flats doing like Mach 1 to catch up with everybody. Then you got like John Lovitz and Kathy Naimai. She plays Beverly, and obviously John Lovitz plays Randy. They're on a family trip with their son and daughter, and I think theirs is the funniest one, because there's this idea that John Lovitz, he's very much against of like the young lads is like, "Oh, that's kind of car I want when I'm older. It's like a Volkswagen Beetle," and the mom and the dad are like, "No, you're not going to have one of those." And the son's like, "Why?" And like you got John Lovitz like, because it's a German car. And, the Volkswagen was the car of the Nazis, and you can't have a Nazi car. And I won't be, and they end up going to this Barbie museum. And he's like, John Lovitz, like, he doesn't want to stop. Like, the Randy's like, "I don't want to stop. We're not stopping." And Beverly's like, "Come on, stop. And he's like, "No!" And then she just headbutts him. They end up coming off the side of the road because the daughter wanted to go to a Barbie museum. Turns out it's not a Barbie museum. Well, I don't know. Should I spoil it? No, I'm not going to spoil it. But it's a shocker. It's not Barbie at all. It's the farthest thing from Barbie museum completely. But they end up getting into it. They've ended up getting into a car, which I can't say what it is, but it's probably the worst. It's the car that he would not want to be seen dead in completely. This is like the one joke that I will spare for you to find out, because it's a hilarious surprise. And they ended up going to like this World War II veterans. They end up crashing into that, and he ends up sort of insulting loads of veterans. And trust me, it sounds bad, but the whole thing leading up to it, the whole gag is just hilarious. But yeah, it's just funny. It's just the coincidental side of it, of like the way they get from one part to the next, and the skits and the comedy and the ensemble. It's like, it's just amazing. Like I missed out Rowan Atkin's character, Enrico Pollini. He has narcolepsy. They don't know this, and he's winning, he's running, and all of a sudden he just stops dead. He falls asleep. And like the whole rollers that betted on him was like, I put like 2 million on that guy. I'm gonna lose, blah blah. And like, and John Cleese's character Donald, he's like, well, all bets are final, and he wakes up halfway through, ends up coming out going, I'm winning. He's such a loving, he's so kind and so lovely. He's so kind-hearted. Like he's really innocent, like bloke, to be honest. And he ends up running out, gets run over by a van, who driven by Wayne Knight, and he basically he's like, oh my god, are you okay? Gloria Allred, yeah, Gloria, that one. She ends up seeing. She goes, I saw the whole thing. He's like, oh my god, Gloria Allred, please get up. You okay? He's like, yes, I'm fine. And he's like, can I help you? Can I take you there? He's like, I'm in a race. I'm going to Silver City, New Mexico. And he's like, you're just in luck. Hop in, I'm going there. He goes, but I've got to drive really, really fast. And he's like, oui, excellent. And they get a guy and they go. And it turns out that Wayne, he is a organ transplant driver. And he's carrying, he's like, we're hauling ass. And then you've got like Rowan Atkin's character's like, yeah, we're hauling ass. And then Wayne's like, well, do you want to know what I've got back there? I want it in the back. And Rowan Atkinson's character's like, ass, you're hauling ass. And like Wayne's like, no, that's just an expression. I've got some back there. He's like, what is it? And it's hot. He's like, some guy in like New Mexico like needs it by like 10 o'clock tonight. So that's where I'm going. And then like it kind of goes quiet for a second, and Wayne looks at him like deadpan. He's like, do you want to see it? And then you've got like Rowan's like, can we? Like, are we allowed? And he's like, who's gonna know? So they end up getting out. And he's like, it's been there for like 7 hours. It's cooped up. It needs fresh air. So open the lid. There's a heart, and like he even pulls out the little baggie that it's in. They've just got it on the ice, and they're just looking at it. And because they're not paying attention to the road, there's this truck on the front full of junk, and piece of junk falls off, goes over the wheel, bumps up, and sends the heart flying all over the truck. And then you've got Rowan Atkinson going, it's okay, me find it, I'll find it, don't worry. And like Zach's that's his character, but I'm just gonna call him Wayne because it's easier. Wayne's freaking out and all that, and they end up finding it. He's like, what's that? And he goes, a nickel. And as he's got the heart, they go over another bump. He ends up chucking the heart out the window. Wayne freaks out, so they go looking for it. Their little dog comes over with like something in his mouth, and then you've got Rowan going, little doggy, he grabs it, he throws it. They both realise what he's just thrown, so they chase this dog. They end up following this dog all the way to these train tracks and this electric fence. And then you see smoking, and all of a sudden the camera pans round, and this dog is just electrocuted, just died. And they get the heart, they blow it off, like all the hair on it. And it's like, it's okay. Wayne's like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. And then you've got Enrico, you got Rowan's character. He's like, what are those holes? And Wayne's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, you stick this in the guy, it's going to go pump, pump, dead, clear. Sort of he's hitting the heart. He's like, you put this in anybody, he's like, he's going to leak like a sieve. And he's like, I've got it. We'll find a drifter, somebody that nobody cares about. We'll kill him. And then we'll take the heart, and then nobody knows. And he's like, where will we find a drifter? And again, Enrico, sort of Rowan's character, he's very innocent. He doesn't really know better. So he's sitting there thinking, oh, well, where? And then Wayne looks over, he goes, Enrico, where'd you say you was from? And he's like, I'm from Napoli. And he's like, no family, nothing. He goes, no, my papa, he died. My mama, she died as well. And then he's like, no kids, nothing, no one's going to miss you. And then he's like, no, it's just me, all alone, but I'm happy. And then obviously he realizes what he's going to do. Like he's going to kill him. So he runs. Again, makes no sense. He'd be dead, but it doesn't matter because it's a comedy and it's funny. He runs, jumps over the electric fence, jumps on the tracks, ends up perfectly landing inside this train. And that's sort of his sort of adventure kind of goes from there, really. But it's the whole thing is just brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant, and absolutely love it. And it makes sense because the guy that directed this was Jerry Zucker, one of the Zucker brothers who did, and he was involved in doing Airplane, Top Secret, this, Rat Race. He did Ghost, The Naked Gun, Naked Gun 2, A Naked Gun 3. Other movies, like I'm trying to think of other movies that he's done that people would know. My Best Friend's Wedding, great comedy that is. Again, Rat Race, this one. Unconditional Love, which is another kind of pretty good comedy. Brain Donors, that's another good one as well. That's an underrated movie. That one nobody talks about. Brain Donors. One day I'll have to sit and talk about that film. But he's a brilliant director, and he's absolutely hilarious. And he gets comedy. He understands comedy because again, it's what his family is always done. That's their bread and butter. That's the movies that they make is those sort of spoofy comedy ensemble cast sort of films. And I love it. I really, really do. Like the movie starts, like I will admit, if I had to do any sort of negative for this film, is that the intro is a bit too long. Now, I'm one of the rare few people, and it's not just me. I know the Doom Generation ladies appreciate this too, but I love an animated intro. Again, you don't really get them many days. You don't get them nowadays with films, but I love the animated introduction, but also the music. It's a song where it goes, "It is nothing, it is nothing, life is nothing, life is nothing, life is nothing but a slap in the face. It is nothing, life is nothing but a simple rat race, rat race." And you've got this song, and it loops and it goes on for about 2 minutes. So the intro is a bit too long. It's about 2 minutes, and you've got the heads, like photos, like photo shots of the characters, of the actors. And then you've got their little animated bodies, and they're running back and forth. And as they're running back and forth, their names are coming up, and the name of the production, name of the movie, and so on and so forth. And it does go in quite seamlessly when you have that like animated one, and then you go straight into like the film and starts with like Nick, and he's checking out, and he's like, "I just want to check out," and he looks at his bill, and he's like, "What's this $150 bill?" And he's like, "Oh, those are the movies that you watch." He's like, "I didn't watch any movies," and the woman's like, "Yeah, you did. You watched Afro Whores about 20 times." He's like, "No, I didn't watch Afro Horse." It's like, no, you did. You watched it multiple times, on and off. And then you watched The Grinch for about 2 minutes, and then you watched Afro Horse 2. And again, I love it. I just think it's hilarious. But yeah, I think that's the only probably negative I've got about this movie is just the fact of the intro is a bit too long. I feel like if you could have shortened that, we could have got into the movie a lot quicker and a lot into the comedy, because it is a funny film. And trust me, there's a lot of gags and things I've left out. The whole John Lovitz and his character and what ends up happening to him, I've left out because I want to be that surprise, because I'm realizing that I'm giving too much of the gags away. Like if you haven't seen this movie, a lot of the gags are just there when you just don't know they're there, when you don't know they're coming. So he ends up. So yeah. What I was going to talk about then? Oh yeah. Overall thoughts. Like I said, I love this movie. I think it's fucking brilliant. I think it's absolutely amazing. Again, I do apologize for swearing. I just think it's a really good, brilliant movie, and it's one of my favorites. And I just have so much passion and love for this film, and I need to get it physical. And like, I remember watching this when I was younger for the first time, and just loving again the idea of having all these characters that I've seen from loads of different movies and TV shows all together. You know, being funny, getting into hijinks, and never knowing what's going to come next. And then when I was younger, and I still kind of am now, not as much as I was when I was younger, but when I was younger, I was a big Smash Mouth fan. I loved Smash Mouth. I loved all their albums, and I loved all their songs. Again, that's because of watching movies like Mystery Men and Shrek and things like that. I just got into that band. And then I ended up just listening to a lot of their music. I know that the lead singer of Smash Mouth, I know he's passed away a couple of years ago, sadly. But just watching this movie and having all my favorite actors and all the stuff and just loving it. And then the movie to end, and there's Smash Mouth singing All Star. And again, I'm not going to ruin the twist at the end for anybody. But yeah, Smash Mouth is there, and it makes a lot of sense, and it works. And it's like, because it's one of those, it's like, how do you end a movie like this? How do you end a movie where everybody's learned a lesson, everybody has realized something or learned something? Like all the characters have changed. Like Nick, especially, he goes for the most growth, and he changes from a goody two shoes to somebody who actually has a life, who actually lives, who takes chances and stuff like that, and ends up having a really gorgeous partner, and everything's going great for him. And you know, how do you end a movie like this? And the way they end it works. It works really well. It works perfectly. So, yeah, overall, I just think it's brilliant. If you haven't watched it, watch it. Like I said, I think it's on Amazon Prime. Like I rented it, but I think No, I watch it on Amazon Video, but if you have Amazon Prime, I think it's free on Amazon Prime. I think I'm not entirely sure. But the Blu-ray's not very much. Again, to rent it isn't very much either. Or if you want to get it on physical DVD, you could probably go online. You can probably find this movie for like £1, probably not, probably less than that, really. So it's not an expensive movie. It's not a very hard movie to find. It's just the fact that you probably just have to get a physical version, or if you have Amazon Prime, probably watch it on Amazon Prime. But either way, I implore you to give it a watch. It's fun, it's silly, it's stupid, it's clever. Like it's just great. Like everybody did practical. There's so many practical effects in this. Like I haven't done this in a while. But I ended up going back onto YouTube after I watched the making of documentary, and it's wonderful watching that documentary and seeing that everybody just had a lot of fun, and it translates on screen. You can tell that everybody's having fun. Like there were moments with like Cuba Gooding Jr. He was saying like, it's hard being on a set when everybody is a comedian, everybody is hilarious, is funny, and you have to feel like you're pressured to one up. And then you've got like Seth Green being like, oh, everybody else is fine, but Cuban, like he had to constantly, like if I did a joke, he had to say like do a funnier joke the next take, and then I had to do a fun joke and stuff like that. So you can tell they had so much fun, and like it was just wonderful to see. And then to see that, and then to watch the film, and then to be like, you can tell they're having so much fun that, you know, it's just a fun time on set, and it translates so well. And then to watch the deleted scenes and be like, you know what, I would have liked that scene, but I can see why they cut it. I can see what they want. Look, there's this one scene, and it was in the making of, and I didn't recognize it, because they're like, there's this one scene where Cuba Gooding Jr. Is running on this highway for this like because we don't really do it here in the UK, but in America, where it's like they get whole houses. And again, in the UK, you probably can't do it because our houses are made out of bricks. They're not made out of like wood. No offense to Americans, but they can put them on the back of trucks, and then you can see like houses go down like the highway. And he sees one, and he ends up running after it. He ends up getting in this house, thinking it's empty, because again, it should be. Of course, it would be. He ends up trying to find some clothes, because at this stage, he's in his boxers and a sort of shirt, and ends up waking this girl up. She's like half naked in some red underwear. She's screaming on the bed. He's panicking. Next thing you know, this guy walks in, this big buff bloke who looks like an ex sort of wrestler, ends up wrestling him and like basically beating the crap out of him, to be honest, and then chucks him out of a window. That was all a deleted scene. And Jerry Zucker, he basically goes like, it's a great scene, and it's actually one of the most expensive scenes of the set, and it was a shame to cut it. And it was, even though it was funny to kind of see Cuba Gooding Jr., because again, he did all his own stunts. It is actually Cuba Gooding Jr. in all these stunts, but it's funny to see Cuban in all these situations and get beaten up and get thrown out of a window. It just didn't work. You know, it was just a bit too long. And, you know, I get it. I do. But it was just, yeah, I don't know. I'm just happy. I'm just happy. I'm just so excited. And this is what happens when I get happy. It's just, I get tongue tied. I repeat myself, because I just want to convey so much how much I love it. But yeah, overall thoughts, give this movie a go. Give it a watch. If you can find it, and just let me know. If you watch it and you've never seen it before, please do let me know what you thought. Even if you didn't like it, I don't mind. I just want to know more people have watched this movie, because it is a diamond in the rough. Like, it's a hidden gem that nobody talks about. And I love it. I really, really do. And we just don't get movies like this anymore, because we just don't get many ensemble casts anymore. It's a shame. But maybe one day we'll with the success of Naked Gun, we might see these ensemble casts of characters and these little movies like this, and see where it goes, like Hijinks. I want a race movie. That's what I want. I want a movie like this idea done today. You know what I mean? And even if you want to make it more grander scale, up the budget in terms of like how much money they win. So instead of like a 2 million, it's like 500 million, something like that. And they've got, instead of going from like Las Vegas to New Mexico, they've got to go from like, I don't know, one side of like from LA all the way to New York sort of thing. And then you have like a road trip sort of movie of them going through all the 50 states and or going through Route 66 or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that would be interesting. So something like that. But would we ever get it? No, because there's no real there's no money in movies like that anymore, which is a shame. But who knows? Like I said, with the success of Naked Gun, it could be. It could be. Who knows? I have hopes. Anyway, what I wanted to do is, as I do all the time, whenever I do movie reviews, I always go onto YouTube, and to let people know what I'm watching. And this time, no different. I'll let everybody know that I was watching Rat Race, and some of the things I got back, some of the comments was quite interesting. So I'm going to read some off to you now. So, first of all was from Chat Tsunami. He goes, God, that's a blast from the past. Used to watch this all the time when it came on TV. I completely agree, Chat. So I was exactly the same. Whenever it was on TV, I watched it. No matter what I was doing, I put it on because I knew that it was. If I was down, or if I needed cheering up, or if I just wanted just to have a bit of fun for an hour or two. I think it's about an hour and 20 minutes there, so it's like it's not a long movie. If I needed a laugh, I know I would get that with this movie. So I completely agree. Like, it is a blast from the past, and it's a movie that I just feel like shouldn't be a blast from the past. It should be with like more people talk about, more podcasters talk about. But again, that's the whole point of my podcast. That's why I do what I do, because I like to talk about movies that nobody else is talking about, and nobody else is talking about Rat Race for some unknown reason. But hopefully they will, and hopefully this is one of them reviews that people listen to. You go, you know what, I'm going to give it a go, and I got other people talking about this movie because I need it. I need other people talking about this movie. Anyway, then we had the VHS Abyss movie podcast. They write, used to love this, not seen it in years. The main two things I remember is the excellent ensemble cast, completely agree, and that it felt like a live-action Wacky Races movie. Oh, absolutely. That didn't even occur to me. But you are right. That it is basically Wacky Races, just without like the wacky cars. It is Wacky Races. You know, you've got this ensemble cast. You've got, again, if you ever watch Wacky Races or like Catch the Pigeon, you had Dick Dastardly. What the other ones? I can't remember the other ones. I always only remember Dick Dastardly and Muttley, to be honest, because they were my favourites. But you had all these other characters. And they would get into races, and then you'd always get Dick trying to basically ruin it. You know, he comes in first and never does. But you are right. Like, it does feel like a live action Wacky Races. But now you said that, I want a Wacky Races movie. Either live action, well, most likely animated, but I want to see Hanna-Barbera bring back Wacky Races. You know what I mean? Like, if we did the Flintstones, we can do Wacky Races. You know what I mean? So, like, bring it back. But yeah, you're completely right there. Then we got Bitches with Beard, which is a great name for a podcast, by the way. They write, I saw it once at the cinema and laughed my ass off. I kind of don't want to see it again unless it's not quite as good. Leave it there. I completely agree. And I did write a comment back basically agreeing, because I get the logic. Because if you watch a movie and you love it, and you think, but you only ever seen it that once, and you absolutely love it, and it's been years, you don't want to ruin that memory. Because you could watch it again as an adult and be like, you know what? This bit wasn't good. That bit wasn't good. I didn't enjoy that. And I get it. Like, it's happened to me. Like, there's movies that I loved when I was younger, and I watch when I'm older, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, it wasn't as good as I remember it being. So it's possible. So I get it. You know, keep that memory alive. Keep that core memory alive, and, you know, probably don't watch it again. But I'm glad when he first watched it, he loved it, and lucky bugger, he got to watch it in the cinema. I would love to watch this movie on the big screen. But yeah, I'm glad he enjoyed it when he first watched it, but I understand why he wouldn't want to watch it again, because he doesn't want to ruin that memory. But trust me, it's still hilarious. It's still great. It's still one of them movies that I've watched loads of times, and it still makes me laugh, even though I know the gags and I know what's coming. It's still funny. Because funny is funny. It's as simple as that. You know, no matter how many times you watch it, it's still funny, because comedy is comedy. It will always ever be funny. And then we had the final one was from Desert of the Real podcast. They write, I'm winning, was a huge catchphrase for a while in elementary school. Yeah. This is one of the movies, like, I felt like I was the only one in school who had seen it. So I'd go, I'm winning. It's a race. Oh, I'll cocktail weenies. He said little cocktail doggies, and Vera goes, oh no, we call them weenies, and he goes, weenies, yeah. Again, I was doing Enrico, I was doing the Rowan Atkinson sort of bad Italian sort of impression when I was in primary school. Nobody knew it at all, But to me, that made it more special because it was the fact if I knew what it was from, I found it hilarious. I loved it. And for me, it just felt like a hidden gem. Again, as I've gotten older, I realized more people have obviously seen this film. But when I was younger, it was like a catchphrase I used all the time. I'm winning. I'm winning. Nobody got it, but it was priceless to me. You know what I mean? Like it meant something to me. And that's it really for people's questions. Again, thank you very much for everybody who commented. Again, if you want to check them out, please do go check all those people that I mentioned. And if you want to get involved, next time that I'm talking about a movie, follow me on Twitter, howdybeans_pod. And then whenever I post saying I'm watching this movie, what your thoughts and feelings, if you've seen it, or if you have any thoughts and feelings on the movie, comment them down below and I will shout you out. One thing I want to end it with, before I come to an end, I want to do some trivia. So John Cleese plays a character called Donald Sinclair. This was actually the name of the real-life hotel proprietor on whom Cleese's iconic character, Basil Fawlty of Fawlty Towers, was based. That I didn't know, but that's a fantastic one because I love Fawlty Towers. I grew up watching Fawlty Towers. Then we have a deleted scene, further exaggerated the gambling habits of Sinclair and his associates. This scene featured them playing Monopoly with real money. Yep. Vince Villeneuve, who portrays Blaine Cody, did not appear on any of the film's posters or promotional material, even though he is one of the main characters. This was due to an agent who tried to secure star billing and failed. Villeneuve has since fired the agent. Well, I would imagine he did years ago. Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character is based on a real-life referee. And the script originally called for one tour guide in the Barbie Museum, but Jerry Zucker liked the pair who ultimately made it into the film, so made so much that he split the role. I really want to talk about this Barbie Museum. I really want to talk about what happens in it because it's so funny, and it just leads to such a funny end joke that I want to talk about it, but I can't. But you don't see it coming. I'm going to say that. Like you are surprised as they are. What happens next after that, it's just funny. And John Lovitz just plays it so well and so straight. Like he's hilarious. Like he's joking around, but he plays it so straight and so good that I'm just sitting there going, it's so mad and so clever that I just love it, and I don't want to spoil it. That's the one joke, that's the one gag I want to like anybody who hasn't watched this to watch. But if you've seen this film, you know what that Barbie Museum is. It's not Barbie. I will say that it's the furthest thing from Barbie ever. But yeah, it's great. It's just great. But that's it. That's it for trivia. And that's it for this review. Really, I've just looked. I've been talking for an hour and almost 14 minutes in total. This is going to be a long review. But you know what? I don't mind because I really, really love this movie and I want to convey that as much as possible. And I feel like I have in this review. And if you stuck around this long to the end, again, I really do appreciate you. You mean a lot to me. So thank you very, very much for making it this far. It's been an absolute pleasure watching this movie. It's been a pleasure sharing my love and passion of this movie to you all. Again, I might have not convinced everybody, but I hope I've convinced you, the listener, and you know who you are, enough to go, you know what, I'll give this a go. I'll seek it out and give it a watch. Like Sean from Review It Yourself, he hasn't seen this movie. And I can't believe it because this feels like a movie that he would love and he would adore. So I hope, Sean, if you're listening, please do check this out. If not, I'm going to be badgering you to watch it. And if I have to come on your podcast and review it, I will. And that's a promise. And yeah, so I hope I've convinced everybody. Hope you all liked and enjoyed it as always. Again, I do apologize it went on this long, but this just happens when you're enjoying yourself and you really enjoyed the topic that you're talking about. But yeah, thank you very, very much for listening. If you want to know more from me, then you can. I'm on all podcasting platforms. Just search the Howdy Beans podcast. If you want to listen to me on YouTube, just type in the Howdy Beans podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Again, let me know your feedback down below if you've seen this movie, if you like it, who your favorite character is, what your favorite gag is, and all that. Again, put that all down below. Same on Spotify. If you listen on Spotify and you're not following me, give me a follow. Rate the podcast. Whatever you feel like is fair. 5 stars would be brilliant, but whatever you feel like is fair. Also, on Spotify now, you can leave comments. So again, put your comment down below, what you thought of this movie, favorite character, and all that jazz. Yeah, follow me on Twitter, howdybeans_pod. to be kept up to date whenever I'm watching next or reading or gaming or whatever. So yeah, I've been your host, Luke the Elder Bean. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor to talk about Rat Race with you today. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.